The classroom was buzzing with noise, but in the middle of all the chatter sat Alina, the quietest girl in school. Her books were neatly stacked, her head bent low, and her eyes fixed on the pages. Yet her mind was somewhere else entirely. She had learned long ago that silence was safer than words. The fewer people noticed her, the fewer chances there were for someone to hurt her. But silence doesn't always protect you. That day, as the bell rang and the teacher stepped out for a moment, the bullies closed in. 3 boys, loud and cocky, had made her their favorite target. They didn't like how she never fought back, how she never raised her voice, how she walked through school like a shadow. And so, to them, she was weak. One of them leaned on her desk. "Hey, Mouse. Why don't you squeak for once?" he mocked, his friends laughing. Alina kept her eyes down, gripping her pen tighter. She prayed they'd lose interest. But they didn't. The tallest one suddenly reached out and grabbed her throat, shoving her back against the chair. The air caught in her chest. The classroom fell silent for a moment, everyone staring. Some were shocked, some curious, but none moved to help. Alina's heart pounded, her breath shallow. Fear rushed in, yet beneath it, something else stirred. A voice she hadn't listened to in years whispered inside her, "No more." Her mother's words echoed in her mind, words spoken long before her mother passed away. Strength isn't about shouting the loudest, Alina. It's about knowing when to stand up for yourself. That voice broke the chains of her silence. In a flash, Alina's hand shot up, gripping the boy's wrist. Her eyes, usually soft and downcast, burned with a fire no one had ever seen in her. With a swift twist, she bent his wrist back, and the boy screamed. The others lunged forward, but she moved faster than any of them expected. Another wrist twisted back, another cry of pain filling the room. The class gasped. No one had ever seen the quiet girl move like that. No one knew that behind her silence were years of martial arts training, years of discipline she never boasted about. Her father had enrolled her in classes after her mother's passing, hoping she'd find strength to face a world that often felt cruel. Now, all that training surged through her veins. The bullies stumbled back, clutching their arms, fear replacing arrogance. For once, they weren't laughing. For once, they realized that the girl they mocked had a strength far beyond what they could ever understand. But the victory wasn't just in the fight. It was in the silence that followed. The entire class stared at her, not as the quiet girl, not as a shadow, but as someone who had stood up when no one else dared. Of course, challenges came afterward. The bullies tried to spread rumors, painting her as violent. Teachers questioned her, and the principal wanted to know what happened. Alina faced those challenges with calm honesty, explaining the truth. She defended herself when they crossed the line. Some believed her, some didn't. But it didn't matter. She had faced her worst fear speaking up, being seen, being judged. The hardest part wasn't twisting a bully's wrist. The hardest part was standing tall afterward. Slowly, things began to change. Some classmates who had once ignored her started offering quiet smiles, even apologies for never helping. The bullies, embarrassed and nursing their pride, kept their distance. And Alina, she began to lift her head more often, no longer afraid of eyes turning her way. She learned that silence can be a shield, but it can also be a prison. And sometimes, breaking free means showing the world the strength you've carried all along. By the end of that school year, Alina wasn't known as the quiet girl anymore. She was known as the girl who stood her ground, the girl who showed that true strength doesn't come from hurting others, but from refusing to let others hurt you. And when she looked in the mirror at night, she didn't see a shadow anymore. She saw someone her mother would have been proud of.